Hello, everyone, and welcome to Minis and Movies Episode 3. I'm your host, John Spencer. I want to thank all you patrons for sticking with us as we sort things out over at More Than Dice. You're really helping us keep things going, getting cool support for War Machine Weekend, and of course, the Old Man Tournament at War Machine Weekend is our baby Gonzo's original thought, and he's now running it, and you're helping us support that as well, so thank you all. Ron! Well, I was lazy, didn't feel like going downstairs, so all I've got is Jim Beam Maple Whiskey, which actually sipping it out of a shot cup is not that bad. Full shot tends to be horrible, but this is pretty good. Better than the maple bacon vodka that I got for my birthday. That is fucking ific. Oh my god. I will not be drinking that on this podcast, trust me, unless I find a good mixer. So tonight I'm going to be talking about when you should get out of a game. It's a kind of serious subject. It's a add-on to sort of what Gonzo and I talked about a couple weeks ago on More Than Dice, when what you should do when a game company goes under or when a game stops being supported. This is sort of the other flip side of that. What do you do when you're no longer... when do you want to get out of a game? When should you really be considering? When do you think it's too soon? Don't want to make any snap judgments. And this will mostly be from, say, a miniatures game point of view, because that you have much more physical into it and a lot less ability to get that money back. So it's a bit more of an investment that you've got in front of you. Then in the movie section, I'll be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, or the Avengers Initiative. Technically, it's Part 10. I would call it Avengers Initiative Intermission, since it has nothing to do with the Avengers at all. So let's get started. Alright, so I put it out there on Facebook and Twitter. I didn't get any Twitter hits. I guess everyone was busy. There's lots of important stuff going on in the world. But Facebook, I got some hits back on some ideas from gentlemen and people who have some ideas for what they think you should do, or when you should get out of a game. I'm going to talk a bit more in depth about that. Now, there's lots of reasons you could want to get out of a game. Community could have dried up, store could have gone under, they could be out of business. If the company's out of business, I refer to our Muson Minis. That's not even remotely us. More Than Dice episode on that subject. But sometimes it's just the game changes. There's a new edition. Maybe it's had a big sweeping errata, and maybe you don't like where the game is going. And yes, this is directly related to my dislike of theme lists, which I am not shy about hiding. I am, of course, going to still continue to give them a try, but it's some thoughts I had myself. So I'll throw some thoughts here from the fans on Facebook, and then I'll, of course, follow it up with my own more thoughts on each of them. Nathan Dayton says, the first time a publisher of the game goes belly up. Absolutely, unless you're really, really into that game and you've got a good community and all, that is a warning sign you may wish to get out of a game. Fireshore Armada, hell, BattleTech. A lot of people got out when FASA went belly up. There's a lot of times the company's gone under, and maybe you just don't feel like continuing the game. That's a good time to get out. A good time from a point of view of time investment, bad from trying to sell your models and all. Though sometimes it ends up being okay. If you wait a little bit, people will be looking for the models, and you can get rid of them. I'll probably go to the end and tell you what you should do when you get out of a game. We'll throw that as an add-on. And then I'll also, Chris Wells said, or how to rekindle your interest in a game if you're getting burned out. I'll throw that in. That actually will probably be next episode. He'll get a whole topic for that, so thank you, Chris. Ron? Now, the number one answer, of course, was if you're just not having fun or not enjoying it anymore, and that was Robert Dresky and Brian Kilgore. And that's absolutely true. If you're not enjoying the game, if it feels like work, if it feels like a slog, you need to step back, reevaluate why you're playing. Maybe it was just a couple games. You had a couple bad games in a row. But if you see a consistent trend of not enjoying the games, you need to at least take a break and maybe completely get out of the game. That's one where I would suggest not getting all the way out, just taking a long break. But if you see it coming, start a journal or something. Start keeping track. Like, I played this game against this opponent. I had fun or I didn't have fun. This is why. Because we tend to treat a disposable income very disposably as miniature gamers. But really, as you got a lot of time and effort, especially if you have a fully painted army, you've got so much invested in the game. You really need to give it your full thought before you just jump out. But not having fun, not enjoying it is definitely a big one. Steve never left. Never going to pronounce his last name correctly. He's a local. He knows what I'm talking about. He says, for me, I need community. I enjoy getting to see and hear about others' excitement. Absolutely. I would say it's number one. That is what has kept me in Warmachine when maybe I should just eject. Because I love the community. I don't hate the game, but the community is so awesome overall and so much fun to hang around with. I don't want to get completely out of the game. So yeah, but if your community dries up, you definitely, it's probably time. It may be time just to take an extended break. I'll talk about that and what you can do when it's time to get out. Kev Bryant goes into more of what I was talking about. When you feel that you're doing as a chore and there's no return on what you're doing, it's time to break or play something else, even a board game, just to mix it up. Absolutely true. Taking the break, even if it's a long break, sometime a year break, however long you need to do for you to look at that stuff and go, I really want to try that again. But if you get to a certain point and you're like, I haven't missed it, don't let yourself get fooled. The mind will tell you didn't miss stuff. It'll play tricks on you. So you need to get to a point and be like, all right, now I'm going to try it again because I just want to see if I still like it. Maybe I like where it's gone. Give yourself a couple games. Don't just go, oh, one game, crap, whatever, out. Then you're just looking for excuses. You should be aware before that. But your mind will trick you into saying you didn't miss something. Then you'll play it again. You'll be like, yeah, man, I missed that. I feel that way every time I go a long time without playing Infinity, which is very often. And I jump back in and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty enjoyable. I really missed that. But right now, if you tell me, I'm like, yeah, I haven't played it in a while. I don't really miss it. So you never know. You really got to think about it. And Chris Eberly, Congo the Drummer Gun, says, when it's not fun anymore, publish go belly up. If you have enough minis to play and like it, you can stay around. And then he says, it's like when a video game you like has stopped being updated with DLC or whatever. Doesn't mean you stop playing it. Absolutely true. I still play Borderlands 2, even though there hasn't been anything new for it in a long time, aside from community stuff. And actually, that's a big note. Community can jump in and make up where a game has gone under. So those are all good reasons. But I definitely think it's not something you should take lightly. I've heard people, something bad happen in like 2 games in a row, and they're like, I'm out of this game completely. They put it away. I see them at the store, but they're not even considering the game. And I feel like that is disrespecting your hobby and your time. You like that and you got into it for a reason. A couple bad games shouldn't get you out. You need to analyze and see what you need. Maybe it's not what you need from a hobby right now. I'll be honest, sometimes when I'm deep in the midst of crappy work weeks, Warmachine is not what I need from a hobby at that time because it can be frustrating as all get out since they're still feeling things out. There's a big bullshit factor on the other side, which you have too, but you don't see that when you're playing. And also the come from behind mechanic of caster kill can be really freaking annoying when all you want is a good cathartic experience. For that, I suggest video games. Something, put it on easy. First-person shooters are great. Just something that's not going to frustrate you and just have a good time. But you have to be self-aware enough to understand when that is and when you're actually hurting yourself by continuing to play a game that maybe you're not in the mood for, maybe you're not feeling right now. Now, what to do when you decide to get out of a game? First is decide if you're going to get out temporarily or if you're waiting for something to happen. I'm currently waiting for them to get a bit more through theme lists on Warmachine. When they get a little bit more through it, then I will jump back in. Actually, I just started talking tactics with some locals. So I'm feeling kind of the itch to play some of this. Though the community's low enough right now, I need to see if we can get some more people in. But I've said when, I'm going to give it about a year, so about summer of next year, I will be definitely looking, if I haven't beforehand, looking at trying it out and seeing if things are better or not. and I'm not going to be completely honest, I'm not going to completely separate myself. I mean, Christ's sakes, I'm on a podcast. We talk about War Machine frequently, and I need to keep up on it. But that's what I'm going to play again and see if it's just me needing to get used to the new way that they're playing or not. And that's a good note. You make yourself a goal, like I want to give it this time when this comes out. If I don't like it, I'm out. That's fair. I mean, you got to be true to yourself because you can't keep throwing good time after bad. Like if you're like, I'm not enjoying this, you can't keep spending time on it. But you also have spent so much time and effort on it, you don't want to just get rid of it on a whim. So it's a lot of seeing, if it's a break you want, just put your stuff away, take a break. Really just try and make a good informed decision. Don't make a snap judgment. Go home, calm down, have a good night's sleep or something. Approach it again. Talk with your gaming group. Like, hey, can we play something else for a while? Maybe after we're done, I can come back and play whatever game again, and I'll be happy. Or maybe, in rare cases, you should be completely out. Example, I left Games Workshop. I tried to stay in on their games. Stayed in on 40K for a while. Fantasy had been starting down a path I didn't like. They continued down that path, and there was a point where I was just, you know what, I'm holding on to models. I played it a couple times, but I was just out. I jumped into War Machine. Had decided fantasy wasn't really for me. I didn't want that level of model count to worry about. But I didn't just get rid of it all. I'm like, I'm gonna pack it away. Maybe something to come out, want to play. Honestly, a couple times, my then local store Drop Zone had been like, oh, we're starting a 40K campaign. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll jump in, play that for a little bit. That sounds cool. Bring out one of my armies and play. And then, you read the edition, you're like, I don't really like this shit at all. Gave it a good try, kept packing it away, and then eventually I was like, it's been, 4 or 5 years since I left Games Workshop. I really don't feel the need to play these. There's so many games out there I didn't, so I got stuff going out the door. I got that stuff going on eBay, getting rid of it. Sold it a couple of, as they call them, it's a couple car boot sales or, what the hell do you call them? A couple times the store would have people in and you'd sell stuff. Did a bunch there. And that's a decision you have to make. Maybe it's time to get rid of it. Maybe you want to get rid of part of it. I have 2 Hordes factions and 2 War Machine factions. Maybe I don't need that much. Maybe I could go down to 1 and 1. Maybe I should just get rid of 1 faction. Just keep the rest of it. That's decisions you'll have to make for yourself. Because maybe it's just that you don't want all of it, and you're not going to put that much time into it, so you don't need that much of it. Because while you're in and playing, variety is keeping you go boom, boom, more variety, more variety, more variety. And sometimes that's it. If you kind of like in the game, but maybe you don't like what you're playing, maybe you need to borrow someone else's army and see if that's what you want to do. Also try out some other games. Maybe it's, maybe it'll help you get your interest back. Maybe you'll see you want to play something different completely, so you can help make your decision if you want to get rid of it all. Nathan from Crippled Systems always said that if he doesn't touch anything for a year, he obviously doesn't care about it anymore, and he gets rid of it, or looks into getting rid of it. And while I don't necessarily look that much at that black and white, I definitely start considering it after a year. If you haven't touched an army in a year, or game in a year, you should probably think of getting rid of it. If there's an army that you bought and you're like, yeah, not really feeling it anymore, and it's been a year or more, maybe you should get rid of it. But again, these are lots of personal decisions, but you should sit down and really think about it. If the game goes under, if the company goes under, you should definitely think about it. And if your community is strong and, feeling like they're going to continue to play, then you should absolutely keep your stuff. If, let's say something like, what is a good example of a miniature game? So let's say the Relic Knights were to go under completely. I have a ton of models. Well, absolutely, I'm not going to keep them. There's no one playing it. Why would I? I mean, they need fresh blood. I'm not going to keep the models just for that. I'll keep a couple that I like or I want to paint, and then the rest just out the door. Maybe someone's looking for them. Maybe there's some value. Maybe not. If not, I have thrown miniatures away again before. I ain't got the space to keep them, and I don't need to. But that's also something you can think about, is do you want to keep them just because, you have space? if you've got tons of space, then absolutely you should keep them as long as you can. If you don't have the space, by all means get rid of them when you have to. I mean, you can't just keep holding on to shit just because you used to enjoy it. Sometimes you have to just let it go and start fresh with another game. Maybe even switch game types. You can go from a miniatures game to from a tabletop miniatures game to something collectible or like HeroClix, or you could go the other way to something pre-painted like X-Wing or Armada. You could decide go to a board game that simulates the same experience. You could even go completely crazy and go to a card game if you want. But man, feel it out, make an informed decision. You just don't snap decisions will cost you money, and that hurts because at the end of the day, you put a lot of time and effort into that. I've said it before, and you don't want to get rid of it. Example: the Marvel version of Night Miniatures games, the Marvel branch went under. I still have my models. I'm not going to get rid of them until I feel like I have to. They don't take up a lot of space. I can store those no problem. They take up less than a layer of foam. I actually have a small case I hadn't used for anything else they're hanging out in right now, so that's fine. It's like a lot of the old GW models. I will get rid of them as time passes and as I get the opportunity, but I don't feel any real need to shove them out the door or anything. I've luckily got some free storage space at a friend's house that I can put stuff in. But eventually you have to make that hard decision. And you have to make it for yourself, but that doesn't mean you should make it alone. You should be talking with your friends and your community to see what they want to do, what they're going to do with the game, what their thoughts are. Like, I know my community, most of them are still playing War Machine, thus I'm not going to get rid of War Machine. I can still fully play it. I do enjoy playing games with them. In some cases, it doesn't matter what game I'm playing, I'm happy to play. So I'm not going to get rid of it. There's no real threat of that. Might pare it down, whatever. Might donate one of the armies locally. Like, all right, now we've got a club, if you will, Retribution Army. And doubly so if you've got models that are painted. You should really think twice about that. I've sold a painted army exactly once, a reasonably sized painted army, and I regret it because I was like, I'm going to repaint it all. I totally haven't. 15 years later, I haven't even repainted a bit of that. And even back when I was painting more often, I didn't get any of it done. So, a lot of things to think about. If you have any input on this topic or anything you want me to expound upon, feel free to hit me up. On Twitter, I'm at John O. Spencer. On Facebook, I'm John Oakland Spencer. Or, cunningly enough, my email account is johnoaklandspencer@gmail.com. Or even at yahoo.com. I got both. Feel free to hit me up with ideas or comments on this or any other podcast I do. I would love to hear from them, hear from you, and expound upon this. And like I said, next time I'm going to do Chris Wells' idea, how to rekindle your interest in a game if you're getting burnt out. That'll require some thought, but that's about 2 weeks away for you guys. So, Ron. All right, now on to movies, which is the Avengers Initiative Interlude, or Part 10, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. This was the first big movie everyone thought was going to fail. They're like, oh, I don't know how this is going to do. No one knows these characters. Not sure anyone's going to like this quirky humor. And, man, not only did it hit out of the park. It was a home run with fans everywhere. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I actually did know most of the characters. Star-Lord was the only one who was new, and Drax is very different than his old version. So he was a little weird. But obviously, overview. I mean, do you need it? You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, good lord. But the overview is they're all looking for the MacGuffin, one of the Infinity Stones. They don't know it is one, and or 4 of them. Well, 2 of them are actually. Star-Lord and Gamora are looking for the Infinity Stone. Star-Lord to sell it, Gamora to sell it to someone specific, but she was to keep it out of the bad guy's hands. They meet up, and then Rocket and Groot are hunting down Quill because he's worth money to Yondu because he sort of got the stone that Yondu wanted. It sounds convoluted, but it's really pretty linear. And then they meet Drax in prison after they get captured by the Nova Corps, and Drax wants to kill Gamora because he hates Ronan, the Accuser, because he killed his family. And Star-Lord convinces him to keep her alive because it's the best way to get into Ronan. So he does. He joins them. They escape. And honestly, I feel like the escape from prison scene is one of the best fights in there because it really gets to showcase everyone doing their own thing. They get out. They go to sell the stone. There's some bonding and not bonding between them. Some decent character development. I wouldn't say great. In Drax's case, it's pretty good. In Rocket's case, it's solid. In Star-Lord and Gamora's case, not so much. And Groot is Groot. I mean, he is. But ends up, Ronan gets it. He's going to go unleash the stone on Nova Prime, the Nova Homeworld, and they will go to stop him because, he's going to keep going from planet to planet, unleashing Kree justice. He's basically a racist or speciesist, and he's going to kill everyone he can. So they go to stop him. The end battle is very cool, multi-layered battle, enjoyable. Yeah, really enjoyable. Ending's got some good moments. Overall, it's much more comedy than action, though the action is quite good. And overall, I think I give it 0 shots of Kraken. I would probably raise that to about a half shot of Kraken, because there are a couple points that it's not as good, but I mean, it's still top tier movie. It is not the best Marvel movie. A lot of people say that. I don't agree that it's the best. I've already reviewed 2 of the 4 best Marvel movies. This could be number 5, but I feel like I like Ant-Man better. But we'll see when I get to Ant-Man. It's a couple movies away. So rewatchability, 0 shots of Kraken. You could rewatch this movie whenever. I could go down and rewatch it right now, if I had the time. It is quite good, quite enjoyable. It's probably as rewatchable as any other movie in this in the Marvel series. Nostalgia, 0. I pretty much thought it was exactly as good as I thought it was originally. Tiny bit flawed with a little bit of weak character development here or there, but still really good moments, good actions, great visuals, and great music. More on that later. Storyline, I give it like a 1.5. It is related to the overall Marvel storyline, but it's really an origin story for this group without being an origin story for each of them. But it is sort of an origin story for all of them, but it's all in words. It kind of changes a little bit for 2. But still, overall, pretty good. 1.5 shots of Kraken for storyline. Post-credits. I'm going to give this one 2 ratings. 0 if you're talking just about fun. Both the post-credit scenes are super fun and very amusing to see. Doubly so if you understand all the references they're doing there in the last one. And then for overall needed, that's fucking... I'll give it a 3. They're not really needed. They don't really add anything to the movie. They're just there for fun. But that's okay. It doesn't all have to be serious business. So this is the time of miracles, like the last movie and all. You can have something else. The Stan Lee cameo. 4. It's just Rocket looking through people, making fun of him, and Stan Lee's there. It's neither good nor bad, really. But as far as his cameos go, it's one of his worst. He's not really saying anything. I feel like they could have done a better job, but hey, they fit him in. And then soundtrack also gets 2 scores. 1 for the score and 1 for the actual soundtrack songs they chose. The songs, 0 shots of Kraken. It was great. They chose great music. I mean, what can you say about it? The soundtrack's got a lot of iconic songs on there. I bought it right away, enjoy the heck out of it. It's very listenable. I don't really think there's a bad song on it. There might be one mediocre song on it. It might be the worst you go. But yeah, 0 shots of Kraken for that. And the score gets about 2. I'm going to give it a 2. Because it does have some good bits in it. But it takes such a background to the soundtrack and what's going on that it doesn't super stand out, but it does have a recurring theme. You can go like, oh, that's the Guardians theme. You can hear it going. It's Tyler Bates. He's done a lot of good music, so a solid 2 shots of Kraken for that. And like I said, overall, it's a maybe half shot. It's a 0 to half shots of Kraken movie. It's super good, super enjoyable. Would watch again. 5 out of 7. Great time. Next time we get to another one of my favorite movies, and honestly, at this point, they're all favorite movies because I'm getting to the meat. They've really hit their stride, and they're just, if not hitting out of the park, they're hitting line drives and getting on base with every single one. I don't know why I keep using the baseball analogies, but hey. And that will be Avengers Age of Ultron. Spoiler, I probably like this one more than most. So there you have it. You guys should start thinking about what I should be watching afterwards. I'll probably take a couple weeks of just one-off things that I want to talk about and watch. And then I might find another series to rewatch and all, because that'd be cool. It's kind of cool to have a structure, know what I'm watching next, and not just be like, I want to talk about this random movie. And this way you guys can follow it along without me having to choose, a week in advance what I'm going to watch, which is often more difficult than you think. So there you go. Again, if you have any ideas or comments on movie choices, topic choices, either way, just hit me up. It's johnoaklandspencer@gmail.com or at yahoo.com. I don't care which one. On Facebook, I'm John Oakland Spencer, and on Twitter, I'm at John O. Spencer. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for supporting us. And until next time, Ron!